Well, it came right to me. Didn't even know that. How you doing, folks? Wonderful to have you in here. Wow, nothing going on out there. Zero. It's just nothing to see here. Just like normal. Let's just go into school, make sure we get indoctrinated to come out and eat our pot pies. I think that's all we need to do right now at this point, right? It's all over. Oh my Lord, can you believe what's going on? So obviously we spent 3 hours covering the President Trump assassination attempt, and we're going to go in depth to that right now in just a minute. I'm going to bring on real quick my guest host, and then we're going to get into it. Where is that guy? Waiting, waiting, waiting. I guess he wasn't ready for me.
No, you put things out of order, my friend.
Of course I did. Well, we have to because we have a guest that's waiting in the waiting room. We got to get him on right away.
We do.
So,
Yep.
a lot of wackiness out there, Robert. We know. I'm now out out there saying, you know, a this is not a Secret Service failure when there's intent. When there's intent to intentionally screw up, it's not a failure, is it? But I think get your quick take on this, and let's bring in our guest because he has in-depth knowledge of this. I know he's been on a Secret Service detail before. So, what's your take on that, Robert?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, the idea that we can come to any serious conclusions yet is a little bit too premature. I think there's still so much information being divulged. We just learned that the yeah.
Um, so let's bring on the expert, former Navy SEAL, former CIA contractor, and I believe he's been on a Secret Service detail from a conversation I had with him priorly. Let's bring in the illustrious Michael Jaco.
Gentlemen, good to be back with you. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Michael.
So, Mike, since I know you have a short time frame right now, and I appreciate you really reorganizing your schedule to be here, let's get into it. What is your take on this?
Yeah, so I was on Ambassador Bremer's in Iraq for several months, and I was chosen from a lot of people that were trying out for that position. For my background, I was basically pushed to the top. So I was lead, and I was also advanced. So when you go out and you set up a place where your principal, which would Trump would be like the principal, uh, Ambassador Bremer was our principal, so our the person we're protecting. I would go out a lot of times in advance, and we'd have like a detail that went out and like surveyed the scene and set up everything and made sure that everything was safe. We have a safe. We'd have a dog handler with positions to make sure. I've been in those positions as well, whether it was in a helo, whether it was in a vehicle, whether it was in armored vehicles, like for the military. We always had protection for that person. We get out first and we set up barriers and so forth, and then walk them in very quickly and do a speech or whatever, talk to the people he's going to talk to, and then leave. Now, for this event, when I look at it, it didn't have levels of security. And you're talking about they got the B team. I cannot understand how that's even possible. He should have a team that's completely dedicated to him all the time. So if they're switching out teams, that's a massive red flag right away, and he should not be on board with that. And I know he's had private security that
Mhm.
has protected him. Well, I've seen them in the past going, okay, he's got a pretty good detail. And I've watched the federal government Secret Service details. They have mostly seen very good guys. Now I've had a lot of friends that left the SEAL teams and went into the Secret Service and did protective details for presidents. I talked to someone way back, and so they told me all the stuff they're doing. And then, of course, I've done it on the ground in a combat zone with a guy that's basically they're like multi-million-dollar bounty on this guy's head. So everyone's wanting this guy. We would have helos. We would have armored vehicles, military vehicles on the front and back. We would have armored vehicles front and back of his main vehicle. And sometimes we do dummy runs that were not him just to see if we would get any contact. And of course, like I said, a lot of times I would go in well in advance of the lead and set everything up, make sure everything was safe. Then they would come in, I'm surveying the scene, and then there's the next meeting. So I'd move to the next meeting and on and on and on. So he would do 5 to 7 moves a day. Every single one of them was incredible for like well over a year. He's moving around a combat zone where he's like, he's had many close calls after I left. So a new group of people came in and took over. But when I was there, it was unbelievable. The detail, the level of security. I remember if I saw anything that was out of line, I would say, because I'm watching I'm watching everything. I watch the crowd. I watch all around. Uh, Open air. We did open air like this was. So I'd had snipers everywhere. I'm in contact with them. I can switch back and forth my radio to different frequencies. If somebody came in, I could see them trying to come in and contact me. So I'd flip over to a different frequency. So I've heard some different, people say, well, we didn't have contact with this group or that group. That's not right. There's no way. There's no way. So, I think I think they basically, from my point of view, I think it was basically a setup. It was a setup from the Secret Service side, like a JFK type thing. I don't know. That's a possibility. That's a very, very strong possibility, just on a basic level.
Right.
So it's a failure from that level, period. Right. And then you have the possibility that this was a staged event because they knew that the bad guys were going to do this, and they basically hijacked it and made it their own scenario and completely controlled everything. So everything was completely controlled. That's when I look at this. That's kind of the way I lean. But I'm open to the possibility that close call. Now I've heard a lot of people. I heard Dan Bongino today talking about this. He had like 200,000 people watching him, or I think 250,000 people watching his live show. So I'm like, okay, Dan, what's your take? Because I know you were presidential detail guy. So he was kind of the same opinion. Failure on the part where, like, when I first saw it, I'm like, what took so long for that detail to get up there on stage? That was my first impression. Just when I first saw it, I heard that the shots had been fired. I went right to it within moments after it had happened. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, this something stinks here big time. Those guys weren't on stage right away. So that's a problem. And then when they got him up to move him, it's not like, okay, let's pump your fist and take your time, lead us away, and pump your fist when you get to the car. There's none of that. It's like a blur, and he would be gone. It's like I'm at one with it. And I've worked with women that are exceptionally good shots and know how to use a weapon and so forth. So this is all very, very. You talk about, this isn't a B team. This is like central casting to me. It's like and central casting actors that really are not sure what their part was. Okay, we're going to have you do this today, and this is what you're going to do. It's like, oh, okay. So they show up. It was horrific. So that's kind of my take on the big situation here.
So I know you're short for time. So I'm going to go into my theories later, but I'm looking more at Project Looking Glass divine intervention scenario, which is completely divergent from everybody else I know. But I'm going to go into detail on this, and I'm doing an expose on Nicholas Finiaman tomorrow just on that subject. But that being said, 4 quick questions. One, you would know this. I don't. Wouldn't or is it possible that his when the Secret Service shows up, do they have control over private security where they have to step back and they're the first detail, or is private security can still do whatever they want? How would that work?
No, private security it would be completely separate. There may be some interaction, but again, you have to have a group that's worked with private security. If I had my details like private security is like, no, they're not coming anywhere close to my detail and what we're doing, because I don't know their background, I don't know what they're doing.
Right, right.
So, but if there was had been interaction for a period of time, his personal uh, detail, for that event, they would be standing back. They'd be in the
Yeah,
background, maybe
exactly.
providing security on the peripheral or something like that, but they wouldn't be integral for the Secret Service moving around.
Yeah.
It's all very very private. Now I've been on Bill Clinton. I did a detail one time where Bill Clinton came in, his Secret Service detail. So I was there making sure everything was clear for my staff and my group and so forth. And then Bill Clinton came in, and his private detail knew my background, so they were very generous with me hanging out and doing everything. But then when it was time where it was like, okay, we're in a cluster here, and you need to step back. So I was like, very good. So I understood that. So I stepped back. So if anything had happened, they would cluster around him and move him, and you do not get in the way.
Right.
You do not come close. You do not even look wrong at him. So there's a lot of problems here. So yeah, there would be, like I said, levels, levels, and levels and levels. Like the police would have their outside level, and then you would have like a SWAT type team that would have their level, and then you'd have your Secret Service outside level, and then an inner level of Secret Service. So there's multiple levels, and all of them communicate with each other. Now I didn't have to know the Army, what they're doing. I knew they had their job and I knew their function. If someone tried to intervene, they're going to blast hell out of them. They got big guns. Uh, I work with our helo guys. I'd actually been in the helo several times, sniper in the helo. I'd worked with those guys when I was in SEAL Team 6. So very, very high level guys that are usually on these details. So to see people fumble around, this is very, very unusual, to the point where, like I'm saying, it seemed like they had staged this. Photo opportunities, Trump stopping the teams, like his shoes, he lost his shoes. So I've done a show with Ole Demagar where he talks about shoes are all in these events. So he lost his shoes. He said, "Wait, my shoes." And I was like, that's a giveaway. So are they telegraphing, some deep state activity? We had Fusca in the audience, looking over Trump. And he's supposedly, a lot of people said at one time that he was JFK Jr. I don't believe that, and he said he's not. And so he's looking out from the audience, and you can see him the whole time. He doesn't duck down like everybody else. He never ducks down. So there's a lot of little red flags that I saw throughout the whole thing. There's another one where it seems like somebody's taking a picture of Trump underneath the stage or something, or by the stage. Like, who took that picture? Like, no one gets close to the president after there's been shots fired. If you got a camera, we're at the beginning stages of this thing really starting to kick.
Yeah.
And guys like us, we help people stay calm and cool. We've helped them, watch what's going on. Don't get emotional. We're going to get through this. I think it's very well coordinated what happened. I don't think it's Derek Johnson is the same opinion. I saw Janine and Jean-Claude. They did a show. They did the same analysis like I did. So all of us have done analysis on this, and it's like this seems to have been strongly a staged event. Now,
That's why I believe it's more likely, which I'll get into later. They're looking into the future and they see this, and it's inevitable that's going to happen. But how can they make the loss as least as possible? I think
Yeah.
that's the event, and I'm going to go into that to detail. I don't want to take your time on that. One last thing though, and I don't see anybody talking about this yet. With the technology we have now, would not security have drones just everywhere watching this stuff?
Everywhere, everywhere.
Everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
there's no way that that guy, anybody could, even a rogue cop in uniform wouldn't be able to secure that high point if you have the drones looking at everything. So you're right. The breakdown is just on
Yeah,
purpose. It can't
and
not
not
be
only
on.
drones. There were times because we were in a combat zone. There was a big threat on him, Ambassador Bremer. We had little bird helos with snipers on either side of it, and watching the crowd as well, watching the environment. So yeah, to have no drones and have no, they should have had IR and thermal and all that, all almost always at these events. So there's a lot of people that are saying, things got shut down. That a lot of people in the crowd were like, "Yeah, look, there's a guy up there," and they said that for minutes and minutes, and no one did anything. I'm glad. I mean, there's a guy that came out, Brandon Biggs, I think his name is, a pastor that predicted 3 months ago that a bullet would go by Trump's head. Now, was he told to say that, or
Mhm.
did he really see that in the future? Because uh, Lewis, you and I can see some stuff in the future. We pick up some stuff, but there's a lot of things that are going to happen. Timelines are going to come. Our consciousness can shift a timeline around, can move it around. We I think we basically calmed down that storm that came in that was supposed to hammer Texas.
Mhm.
So consciousness does have an effect. They pushed the storm off of Jamaica. It was supposed to hammer, buzzsaw hammer Jamaica, but it got pushed off the shore. It was supposed to hammer a portion of Cancun. It stayed to the far north of Cancun. Didn't hammer as much, so it came. So a lot of things we can do going forward. Uh, it's going to get very, very exciting uh, from a troubling standpoint. Like today, my energy has been nuts, just blah all day. I couldn't hardly do anything. So there's lots of stuff coming in. I can feel it. It's going to be hectic and it's going to get crazy.
Mhm. Robert, do you have a quick question before Mike has to take
Yeah,
off?
the thing, Michael, that really caught me and say, hey, this is a setup is like they had intel that there was a guy on the roof with a rifle. You would think at that moment the word would have gone out, grab Trump, get him off stage,
Mhm.
Yep.
stop the rally, just get him off stage, get him to safety. And that didn't happen until after the shots rang out. So it's hard a little bit to see it as a show. I know people, oh, it's all scripted, it's a show. It's like, well, how are you only going to take off his ear if it's a show?
No,
You know what I mean?
it
It's just
doesn't happen that way.
it doesn't make
And
sense.
who knows if that's actually what happened if he did a blood. I think because when he got hit, he went like this and he looked at his hand and there's nothing on his hand. His hand's clean from what I could tell. So then when he gets down, it's like I think he was you know world wrestling and all that kind of stuff. He knows how to do the blood pack stuff. So it is possible that it's a God event, and it's possible that it was completely orchestrated and they had complete control of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I like that take because you're saying I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
Figure it
all
out.
adults trying to figure this thing out.
yeah. From an analytical, very this is the way I look at stuff. It's a complete controlled event, but I understand that there are these God moments, and this could have been a God moment. So I'm open to that.
Yep.
All right, guys, I gotta jump. I got another show in
Thank
one
you.
minute. So
Appreciate
lots of
you.
love to everybody, and thanks a lot for having me on. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael. All right. Wow. So we're all on the same page, roughly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we just have to be honest with ourselves, and the challenge I have. There's so many people that put their ego in front of the truth, and it's more important for them to get the information out and say this is it, than say, let's really dig into this. Am I right? Am I, because I have a hypothesis that we're going to go into here that's completely different from what everybody else is saying, but I'm going to
Yeah,
say it's my opinion. It's not factual, right? Um, Very interesting. Well, I'm already seeing our lovely guest in the back office, so we might as well just roll with it if you're good with that, Robert.
absolutely.
How are you doing?
Hello.
Who's that, everybody? That's Laura Worley, the MK Ultra specialist slash healer. Um, Phenomenal person. I call her a friend. I hope she's okay with that. And
No, you can't call me a friend. No.
okay, no friends. But we're going to go into the same thing with this shooter and the MK Ultra aspect, and then I have questions on his father and some other things specifically. So,
Okay.
welcome, Laura. I guess you can just tell us your take on this. What are you seeing here?
Well, absolutely 100% he's MK Ultra. So that's not even a question, at least for me. So I can tell in his eyes and his face, but let's face it. Have you noticed a pattern of the shooters? They're young men. They're
Hmm.
MK Ultra assassin soldiers. That's all they
Hmm.
are. So that for me is not a question. I believe with all my heart that our three-letter agencies created it, fixed it, made it happen. That's why he was able to get up on the roof for sure. Do you guys listen to Candace Owens?
I haven't, not this week. No.
Well, she said that she's been with the Secret Service with Trump, and she said there's no way in the world they would let happen what happened. She's been around it, so that I know for a fact.
And then, so here's the deal.
Okay.
We're gonna assuming that we think all of this is real, and I'm still, honestly, I'm on the fence. I'm like, God, some of it looks, it's fake, some of it looks real. To me, though, it was clear that the Secret Service completely broke down, and I'm frustrated that people keep saying it's a failure. It's not a failure when there's intent. If there's intent to stand down and break down, that's not a failure. That's not even being inept. They were told not to do something, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Even Fox even said that. I was shocked.
oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
good,
They
good,
they
good.
even brought that up. Intent, malice. Was it malice or incompetence?
I like that. I'm surprised that they brought it up too.
Me too.
Um, so
Well, it came from the higher up, but you think about it, it's like they put the B team in there. They put people who clearly were not trained. So, incompetence, on the part of the agents on the ground, yes, because they were the wrong agents. They were the ones. They had one veteran Secret Service guy, one that was there. All the rest were newbies.
Well, Fox showed that. So I do feel that they're not done. I want to tell, you know how I've told you guys for a long time now about the New World Order, how they're trying to bring it in? It's here. Okay. It is here. They have to do it now. I'm not saying within the next 30 days, but this time period, it's all put everything into it. And I am seeing it with survivors. I'm seeing their behavior. I'm seeing just insanity get worse and worse and worse.
mhm.
So, have you guys noticed people's personalities change? People going after you that you thought were kind of friends?
Yeah, actually, I have, which is very odd.
Yeah. I will just tell you that I told you a while ago about this higher groomed group of people had been activated, and their part was to kind of take down certain people that were revealing the cabal. Well, what has happened is it's even gotten 100% worse, because now I don't know if you guys knew it. Do you guys know what the summer solstice is? It's in June,
Mhm. Yep.
to the cult. So anyway, that stage is not here, but I think they've all been activated to a certain degree to do a lot of spiritual things that they've been trained. And do you know why it's so powerful? Is because most people have no clue what a curse is. They have no idea they're being cursed. They have no idea that these people are after them in every way. And do you know that what they can do to your life? There's absolutely nothing they cannot do. They can go after your finances, your health, your business, your kids, your wife, whatever. They'll go after every single thing. And what I'm seeing is a shock of what in the heck has been going on with people's lives right now. And I can't even tell you the depths of absolute insanity that my husband and I have been putting up with. Absolute insanity. So yeah.
You said that one lady was 26. I'm asking, is it
Yeah.
possible that she was 27? And the only reason why I ask is because the Kabbalah.
Their things to other gods. So it's not the first time this has been done. I'm telling you, there's some heavy, heavy stuff going on in the cult as far as what has never happened before in the Illuminati and Freemason and Druids. Real heavy stuff that honestly I'm not sure has ever been allowed to happen in history before right now. So if you think they're not going to give every single bit of crap that they've trained all these millions of people for right now, it's on. It's on. It started. It's here. So there's no more. It's coming.
Wow.
Just to let you know. So I hope the what you can do is you can protect your own family and do what you have to do for you and your family at this moment in time. And just ask God what it is you're supposed to do. I know you guys are already doing this, but what is it that we are supposed to do to fight back? Because we're really needing to fight back now.
Ritual war number two, and you can tell by what happened on Saturday. The setup is there, and it's like they pull the real Secret Service. They put in a bunch of people who were not trained or were not ready for it. That kid, apparently was spotted 30 minutes before he started shooting. They did nothing. They were told when he was on the roof with a long rifle, and they still did
That's why
nothing.
it has to be a setup,
Yeah, it
right?
has to be. Has to be.
It has to be because they wouldn't let that happen. So,
Nobody
but
would.
that
No,
means that
that would
every
not be unprotected. That roof, that building next door, they
yeah,
knew that that would be a perch. There's such a clear line of sight, not even a tree in the way, and
yeah,
that's not
right.
protected. No way, that can't
No,
happen.
Dan Benginer, something like that. He was telling because he used to, I guess, kind of doing these kind of jobs, and he's just saying, "There's no way they let this happen. That's not how they work." Snipers have said, they're if they were that close, they wouldn't have missed. No, so I don't know what that part is about. I don't know if it truly is God saving his life. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So, my theory is a little bit different because if you do look into Q and predictions and all of this stuff, like everybody says it's a movie, it's a script, it's this, and some of it does look very odd. It doesn't add up. But that
Right.
being said, I'm going to detail this a little bit more, but I know they have technology called Project Looking Glass, and and I believe it could be both looking into the future and divine intervention at the same time. Is kind of
Yeah.
what my gut feeling is on this one.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys, I'm like totally doing way overkill on information right now, but this man on X, he 3 months ago said this was going to happen and that it would go past his ear. Did you see that on
Yep.
X? That guy
Yep.
saying that.
I did. I haven't confirmed yet if because many times they'll do these after and they'll say this was 3 months ago. I haven't confirmed because the two videos I saw were both new posts. So I personally haven't confirmed if it was in the past. If it was, that's pretty extraordinary. And like I was just saying earlier, there's been oracles forever that have told the future. Kim Clement could tell the future. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to think that it's not possible. It's more than possible. So that's where I'm going to go with my. I'm actually going to do an expose on Nicholas Viniaman tomorrow because it's just a theory I'm working, but I think I have some corroboration with this, which makes this whole thing really wacky.
Well, it's wacky. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it is. So there's a part of me that says, it is possible they could have set it up, but I just don't think so. I mean, at least I hope not.
I mean, the question is, did I was just saying this to Michael Jaco, if it is a setup, I mean, I think we should be cognitive of if there was truly a loss of life and people injured by these stray bullets. Well, what type of show is that exactly? That's why I think
Exactly.
it may be more predictive that they foresaw this in Project Looking Glass, and they try to mitigate as much collateral damage as possible, and that could have been the most the minimum they could do. And I'm open to completely being wrong, but I just go with my gut.
Yeah.
The not a setup seems not right, and the it's a complete show seems not right. So
Right.
I'm searching for the truth
A little
somewhere else.
mixture of both. Well, I can tell you what I feel very strongly is it's definitely the cabal ordering the hit. I don't really care what
Mhm.
else.
Yeah.
They are behind it, and it is only the beginning. It is only the beginning of what they have planned. You guys don't understand. They have from just in me. I'm not going to tell my full age, but 60 in the 60s they were planning the New World Order, and so they have now almost everything in place to make it happen. And then the thing that's going to take it over the line is a big event. That's when they can actually call all their armies. And I know you guys have a different kind of show, so I don't want to get into too far of stuff, but they have 4 different armies, the Cabal. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. Is it okay to get a little crazy?
Go crazy.
Okay. All right. One you already know about, which is survivors, okay, that have been made super soldiers.
Hmm.
Millions of those around the world. Number 2, there are millions of clones that are just created to take down or bring in the New World Order and take down the people. Third army is the military who they've implanted with technology, and they can just turn them on. And they've also implanted just people. So there's 3. The fourth one is going to be hard for everyone to understand because it's hard for me, but I do have a lot of proof from a lot of people that actually, anyway, have this stuff. Nephilim. There's Nephilim armies uh, as well. So they have 4 different kinds of armies that they can call to take people down. So that's why I always say right now, we need to take down the small group that's in charge, the 300, the people above them. All of those people have to be taken down. And that's how you stop this, at least for a while.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. I think it really comes down to us praying and manifesting is where I think our power is going to come from, and uniting.
Yeah, with the right group.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was very rude, but
Well, and eat
that's
you.
kind of where we're at, I think.
Yeah, and they want to eat us too.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Craziest. All right. Do you have another question, Robert?
Oh, I have many. This conversation can go on forever. It's just an insane time that we're living in. Alex Jones was reporting, Laura, and by the way, good to see you. By the way, I didn't get a chance to say hello
Nice
because
to
you
see
got right
you.
into the conversation. But um, Alex Jones was talking about it, like you said. He said there'll be another attempt on Trump's life, and it will be this week. And he said it will be during the RNC, and it will
See,
be a big event, is what he's claiming. So eyes open,
I
right? We
didn't
don't
hear
know.
that part. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't know about that part, but they are so just getting started because they are not going to lose their power. I
They're
think if
determined.
people
Exactly. Yep.
understood who they are, that's what gets me is that so many people still don't understand who these people are that are running our government. If you understand who they are, then you can understand who your enemy is. And if you don't understand who your enemy is, you cannot win the war. And
Mhm.
they are in a whole different level than most humans because they follow, you know, the opposite of what we do. And so they are calling on that to take us down. I believe fully God's going to help us and we're going to overcome this. But it all starts with us taking action and becoming awake. Because
Yes.
I don't have any more patience for anyone who will not look at this now.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, I agree. It's a pretty simple formula. You've been in power for over 1,000 years, right? And you have control, and you know another entity is coming after you. You're going to do everything you possibly can to hold on to your control. 1,000 years? You think that people think that, oh, they're just going to lay down? Oh, Trump's here. I guess we're gonna give up. No, they are going to literally go to the ends of the earth
Yep.
to do everything they can to stop this because they're done if they don't,
That's
right?
right.
And now with people waking up, they've already lost the narrative. So now they have to go complete kinetic, in my
Right.
opinion,
I think so too.
in order to have a chance.
Yep, absolutely. And they're going to. It's here. It really is here. I just have too much information from the people that's actually their army, and then we also have a lot of information of how people are just going a little nuts right now, and we seem to get the brunt end of it because people just love me so much because I like to bring out information. They absolutely get so angry. And
Yep.
I can I ask a question to your audience, and they can email me personally if you have an
Sure,
answer.
sure.
This is where my husband and I are at very quickly. We literally have been attacked from the highest up groups for almost a year and a half, nonstop. Okay, nonstop. So if anybody can answer this question, I will pay you some money. I don't know what this means. Why? Why are they using so much energy at the top of Illuminati, the Druids, even the Freemasons? Well, they're all one group anyway, but they're all coming after us. My husband and I. Why? Why? That is what I cannot understand. Like nonstop. And now it's gotten so bad that when I try to help people, they're just high up Illuminati. They're trying to come in and want to take me down. So I would love the answer. I mean, it all started when my second book came out, and I did share a lot of what to do to get a person free. And the third book is going to come out in 2 months. That's going to be really, really pissing everyone off, but it is what God has asked. And it's called Puzzle Pieces Together, Hidden Knowledge. And it's going to be knowledge that seriously, they literally have been able to keep hidden about certain people at the highest levels and what they can do. And anyway, and they've kept it hidden very, very long. So anyway, I don't know if that's why, but
Well, I don't want your money, but I think I have the answer.
okay,
Mm.
okay.
Because you're the single source that is doing disclosure, healing, and teaching protection. And I think that so you're like a triple threat to them, and they need to disrupt you. And what I find with me is they don't try to take me out as much as they just try to disrupt me and disrupt everything around
Yeah,
my wife
distractions.
and I. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. I really look forward to the day that we don't have to keep doing this crap, that it will
I
be done.
My wife just said today, and she's a warrior. She's like, you know what? Be done with it. And I said, yeah. If they're going to burn down California, can you just get it done?
Right.
Let's be done, and then we're gonna move forward. And like I say to everybody on here, I would much rather be snorkeling than doing this. Trust me. But snorkeling may not be in my lifetime or in the near future. I don't know. So we're going to keep doing this because this is God's assignment.
You're doing great, both of you guys. And so I hope you're clearing yourselves often, just to make sure you don't have spiritual attachments of,
We do. And I,
people
I
that
use
do
your
that.
techniques often too. So thank you for the reminder, Ben.
Well, you guys are wonderful. That's all I got really for my part of that. Um, but they're ready to take us down in every possible way.
Yeah, we got this though. I
Good to
appreciate
hear
you,
that.
Laura.
Thanks, guys.
Much
Take
love to
care.
you, Laura. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Wow.
What I guess a pretty big first 54 minutes of the show, right?
I I think we've got it. I think we've got it. Yeah, looking at some of the comments in there, and everyone's feeling off today. And I talked about that in the show I did a little bit earlier too. It's like, it takes a few days for it to set in. This is a traumatic event, right? And at first, I think everyone was kind of in shock, which is where you go. And then now the sadness is starting to come up, the anger is starting to come up, the fear, all of these kinds of emotions that people are feeling. And I said, my responsibility to this audience is that we remain as stable as possible. We're not going to be perfect, but we're going to certainly remain as stable as possible through all of this and not get thrown off emotionally, because they come here to have that voice of reason from us, right?
Yeah, and then so as, as you know, I've been doing a test on X, right?
Hmm.
Because of the shadow banning. So I took 3 tweets. I still call them tweets, and I promoted them, 2 of them, to see the triggered left and the mechanisms that they used to come after me, right? So, or I'm not me particular, but this is the mechanisms they use. So It's very interesting. So I'm learning their tactics. By the way, I say it all the time. You must know the way the enemy works. Um, so it's very easy to combat them when you know their tactics. So that's why I'm doing that right now, because I'm shadow banned on X, but the way you can circumvent that is you can pay to get your post promoted. So now at least I'm getting some real data, and it's very interesting what I'm seeing and the way they attacked. It's all mob mentality, by the way, Robert. It's all. So you'll get nobody to respond negatively, and then one person responds negatively, and then it's echo chamber after that. Bam! All like they had the
Yep.
same idea, even though they're given the same exact message,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
Very interesting. And I believe sometimes they're called to go hit you hard all at the same time too, to divert people from the message. Because if you start getting the same message in comments, people just they either get spell casted and they believe it, or they just move around. So they're very sophisticated, but we can see it, and it's a very interesting battle. But if I'm going to be honest, I've been tired for 1 week straight, and I just can't get past this. And all our wonderful supplements that we take are not helping right now, which means it to me it's a more it's ether spiritual type deal that's going on right now. And I'm
Yeah.
hearing from a lot of people that they're just not sleeping.
No, I'm not sleeping, and then my back issue is been really just slowing me down massively. I've been trying to pump it back up and get it back in order, but in the mornings I can hardly move, hardly get out of bed. It's just like crazy. And then an hour of stretching, and then it starts to loosen a little bit, but it's really been slowing me down. No, I was talking to Phoebe. It's like the work that I got done the weekends, like less than half of what I would normally do.
Hmm.
You know, yeah. Notwithstanding our live stream on Saturday, but you know.
Interesting enough, you've never had a back issue up until then. Is that right? Didn't you say that
No,
was?
I've never had a back issue until last week, until it just showed
Yep.
up. I'm like, what happened? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Craziness. Craziness. So, real quick before we move on, I'm just going to quickly go into this theory I have, because I'm not going to spend much time here. I'm going to do a full expose. Nicholas Veniaman tomorrow. Um, if he lets me, I'll record it and put it on this channel also. But here's what's interesting. We have we have two sides. We have one side that this is all real, and the other side, this is all manufactured,
Right.
right? And I say,
They're both right.
is it possible? Right. Is it possible for it to be real and a movie? Now, what do I mean by a movie? Not in the sense that these are all actors, because I believe certain scenarios have actors, certain scenarios don't. Certain scenarios, I believe, I'm starting to believe, based on this little information, and this is all I'm going to talk about right now. But I was told 4 years ago by somebody that is very highly connected, and he flat out told me, he goes, the good guys are running what's more than a quantum computer, where they run millions of scenarios at one time, and then they make their decisions based on predictions that the input that they're getting back, right away I go, ooh, it didn't resonate with me. I didn't like that at all. And I started thinking, I'm like, I'd be okay with that if they're looking into the future with some type of technology like Project Looking Glass, and then they're making decisions based on the outcomes that they're seeing by looking in the future. I said I'd be cool with that, because now that's concrete. Because the last thing I need is a computer to make the decisions for us, because that's driving us farther away from God instead of closer, which I'm afraid that that's where we've been going for a long time. So that's what hit me. That was 4 years ago. And then I've done a lot of studying, and I had this crazy download shortly after that experience, where I said time travel proved. I put it on film. I, Interesting enough, that doesn't have as many views as half the stuff that I've done, but I get more comments on that video called 18 than anyone else when I travel. So something about that has impacted people. So then that happened, and that was just a download. And then I really started to think about this. I'm like, is it possible that the events we are seeing Q knows about, not because they're scripted for the future, but because they already happened. So think about this. So Q has a post, I think it's 2130, I could be wrong. There it shows President Trump with his fist in the air saying, fight, fight, fight. Everybody says, so that's scripted. Well, I'm not quite sure that they could script everything because there is still deep state involvement, right? But what if they looked into something called Project Looking Glass and they saw this is what happened at the time? Because again, that would not indicate a script to me, right? But let's two more things, and I'm going to let it go, and I'll do this tomorrow. In Q did mention Project Looking Glass and future proves past. So to me, I'm feeling that this is more of them making decisions and moves based on what they've already seen. And that's how we're going to see in the future. And they say, you'll be surprised who's talking to you. Maybe because it's Project Looking Glass and their AI talking to us. These are just thoughts, and I'll go into more detail tomorrow. I should have worn my tinfoil hat. I understand that.
Yeah, no, it's we're in a time where I think, what does the Q stand for? Could it stand for quantum? Could it actually be coming from the future? You know what I mean? Because so many of these things have come true. It's not that it's scripted; it's that they've already seen it, and now we're just catching up to that timeline, and those things are playing out. The other thing that comes to mind is, it's like, oh, it's scripted. Well, how do you script shooting?
Know about, because we're catching pedos all the time. I know of a group that's what they do, right? And it's unfortunately they're not all caught pre. A lot of them are caught post actions. So to say this is all scripted, I think is disingenuous, and I think it's dangerous. To say some of it is, I'm on board with you. To say that we have a chessboard that we're winning, maybe, but one, not yet. I'm just saying, this is just my thought.
Well, I think the thing is that we know it's going to get darker before it gets lighter, and we're going to look like we're losing, and then all of a sudden we're going to come out the other side, and boom, we get that the end of the
Art of
tunnel, and
war.
it's sunny again, right?
Art of war, right there, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, you brought up Janine earlier. Janine's cards often come up and say, "This has already happened in the past." When you're asking about something that's about to happen or might happen, she says, "This has already happened." I can't tell you how many times that comes up in her readings.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
very interesting. Gives credence to what you're talking about. It's already
Yeah.
done,
Yep.
and we're just catching up to it.
Well, it's just what resonates with me. It's just a download I had, so I have to just go with it. That my assignment's very easy, guys. It's just, what do you hear? Okay, go. I'm a simple guy. People
Go.
complicate me. I'm not that deep, to be honest with you. I'm pretty a simple guy, and that's it's like, hey, could it be this? Hey, let's look into it, right? And there I
Yep.
go.
Yep. Hey, why don't you tell us about this website?
So this is Screw Big Gov, redone. Lisa did a phenomenal job on this. And one of the reasons why we have the site, guys, is because we are attacked on social media like crazy. So we would recommend that you go here, get on the newsletter in case we disappear someplace, click on any of our social media, and of course, gain access to all the films and things that we do here. And if you ever wonder about the products and you just forgot how to find them, you can go here too. And of course, if it's you see it in your heart, go to one of our deals and feel free to donate or just pray for us. We're cool with that. And there is swag on your screen, and oh, we have some cool stuff coming right around the corner in regards to that. Robert, where can they find you, sir? This is Robert Imbrielli. And guys, he does so much amazing work, and I think he doesn't get enough credit for what he does on his Telegram Renegade Media channel, because he summarizes a lot of what we talk about and shows you video clips that we show, not to mention things that sometimes hit the cutting room floor. So go to Robert's Telegram at Renegade Media.
We were burning that up on Saturday when everything was popping. You guys were doing the show, and I was on the show, but really just watching the feeds and how much stuff was coming out. I think we put more than 100 posts on that afternoon because there's so much coming out, and still is. I mean, Phoebe's been posting in the last hour here, and there's stuff popping left, right, and center. I can't wait to read it. I want to know what's going on.
Yep. And guys, some of the questions you have on current news, we're going to get into here. So just stand by. We'll get into
Yep.
it just in a moment.
Well, this is the first bit of current news is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. J.D. Vance was named Trump's VP pick today. 39 years old. Don't know much about him yet, but I think we'll find out a lot more as we go forward. You seem to know a little bit more about him than I do.
So there's a concern that JD Vance is a deep state asset. In fact, there's a concern because JD Vance, they think, compared Hitler to Trump. But let me read exactly what his post was at the time. They're calling him a never Trumper, blah, blah, blah. And I have a different take on this than a lot of people. So get ready to yell at me. All right. So this is JD Vance's post from a long time ago. It says, JD Vance says, but I'm not surprised by Trump's rise. And I think the entire party has only itself to blame. We are, whether we like it or not, the party of lower income, lower education white people. And I have been saying for a long time that we need to offer those people something. And hell, maybe even expand our appeal to working class black people in the process. Or a demagogue would. We are now at that point. Trump is the fruit of the party's collective neglect. I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad. He said wouldn't be that bad, and might even prove useful. Or that he's America's Hitler. How's that for discouraging? So JD Vance had apprehension back in the day. Here's why. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's just another way to expose them. We're going to put, I don't think my wife and I were talking about, we don't think we're in that point anymore where Trump's going to surround himself with people that he needs to expose. So I have another take on this, guys, and I'd love to get your opinion. Again, we've said many, many times, there's never been a major war won without what? Infiltration. There must be infiltration. Clearly, President Trump, in multiple facets, infiltrated the deep state. There's evidence that he was a Jesuit. There's evidence that he's a Zionist and a Mason, right? Or at least in a secret society. So it's very likely that Trump infiltrated the deep state to get to where he was now. We believe there's some Kennedy assets that have done the same thing. Okay, even Nixon started to go away from that. So did Reagan, right? After Bohemian Grove and all that crap. So there are infiltrators inside that want to make a difference before they've turned. Is it possible, folks, before you go too upset with Trump on his pick of JD Vance? Two things. Is it possible that JD was an infiltrator? Because he'd be exactly what they need is they need a never Trumper just like him in that spot. That's what the deep state would love. But could he possibly be an infiltrator? Not to mention, I believe Trump is serious when he's talking about unity. So I believe this is more of a unity pick than something else, because I do not see him surrounding himself with deep state assets anymore. He's not naive. I don't think we need to expose anymore. All that exposure is going to come out. I think now it's time for healing and moving forward, in my opinion. So I'm going to give this pick a softer than critical eye than I normally do, as I'm trusting that Trump is moving the ball forward properly. What's your take on that, Robert?
Hard to know. I mean, this morning we saw they sent a motorcade to his house there in Ohio to pick him up. So we had preeminent thought that that was going to be the pick, and sure enough, it was. And everyone was hoping it was going to be, a lot of people I know, or not everyone, but a lot of people I know were hoping it was going to be Marco Rubio. I would have thought, no, I didn't like that pick at all.
Okay.
So this guy's a little bit of an unknown to me. So I will dig in over the next day or so and see what we can find out about him. Seems like he's solid. He's only 39. He's young. He hasn't polluted his career too badly yet. But it's politics. Who knows where he goes from here?
Yeah. What color is this guy?
He's a white guy.
Yep. He's a dark white guy though.
Is he dark?
Yeah, I always joke about that because every time I've seen him, he's had a big huge tan on him. I don't
Got a
know.
big beard too. Yeah.
It's not President Trump's orange tan though, so I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Unless he just loves, and I only mention that because people are always teasing him. So we're going to see how they tease him now, because now all the people that loved him will be hating him now because he's President Trump's pick. I believe that's part of the intent of this pick also. I don't think he's a rhino either, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, everything's tenuous. We're like walking on eggshells a little bit. Every decision, every step forward is and what I've been talking about today on my show, my earlier show, and then what I talked about on this show last Monday was we just can't put all our money on red November 5, right? We don't go to the craps table and just do that. We really should have a plan B. Maybe this is part of the plan B. Maybe if Trump doesn't get in at least, or he gets some other attempt, that we have somebody maybe who could step in, at least fill one of those shoes. Not both of them, but certainly one of them.
Yeah, let's hope. I think this guy was a darling of Hollywood, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. So he had a movie made about him. I believe Ron Howard, Forrest Gump, Ron Howard, Opie, Ron Howard directed it, right? So what a great way to infiltrate again, right? And then this guy is turned, and wow, they're going to go apoplectic. But it's also a good person to pay attention to, because he could say, "Oh, look at Hollywood used to love me, now they don't." Right? Uh, the Democrats loved me when they thought I was never a Trumper. Now they don't. The Reiners loved me when they thought now they don't. Right? So this could be used as a wake up to say, guys, what's really going on here? Do you really care about the country, or is this all politics? So I don't believe personally, it doesn't resonate with me that he's a deep state asset and Trump is exposing him, or Trump made another mistake. I just not feeling that one, only because I think we're past that point right now. I think we are in the disclosure point right now. So we'll see, right? I'm going to say
Yeah.
I don't know.
What a world we live in. Well, there's some good news. There's one January 6er that's going to be released by the 24th. This is from after the Supreme Court ruling. They ruled that the DOJ misused and inappropriately charged J6 defendants with obstruction of an official proceeding, and John Strand will be released from prison after his motion for release pending appeal was granted. So he'll be released on the 24th. So this may be what the other J6ers now can leverage and say, we're setting precedent here. We know, you can't hold us for these charges anymore. So now they're going to have to go back, each one of these J6ers, and talk to their lawyers and petition the court to be released, right?
Well, two things. You and I talked about this in the background. One of the things that frustrates me is people with prominent accounts on X and Telegram are positioning this is it's official. The court said all J6ers are going to be released by July 24th. Okay, that's not true.
It won't
Just
happen, yeah.
just like it's not true that Jack Black said that I wish they didn't miss President Trump. That was somebody that works for Jack Black that said that. Both of the narratives I just said are going on prominent accounts. Now, I hate Jack Black, by the way, but I just like the truth. So Jack Black didn't say that. It was a band member that said that. And the Supreme Court didn't say that they're all going to be released. Now, so we just needed to tell the truth, or we're going to be just like them, and we're not just like them. So now, though, the good news is, and Robert and I were talking about this, I don't believe there would be a blanket release, because the way unfortunately the court system works is now you have to petition the court individually. So
Yep.
much so that if there's not a blanket ruling, some J6ers that don't petition the court could be left to rot in jail. But now at least they have precedents. They can petition the court and say, I need to be released also. And then what could happen is there may be enough momentum, and then the Supreme Court steps in and says, release them all, because we don't want to deal with these on an individual basis. But
Right.
as of right now, it's a lie if somebody tells you that they're all getting released. But it's great
It's
news.
easy to misread that. I misread it that way too when I first read. Then I went back and looked at it again. I'm like, oh no, it's not all. It's
Yep.
just with this one guy.
But it is
But
great news.
yeah, this is great news. This is the break in the dam that we were hoping for, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's what you got to look at this and say, okay, it's not a huge win, but it's still in the win column. It's still in the green column, right? So we'll check that off and say we'll take it.
And remember, we've even said even good judges are cowardice. So they need precedence before they make a decision.
Right.
Precedence is set now. Now you can petition the court and see what happens.
Yep.
So these are all I'll tell you what, the Supreme Court we need to be paying attention to. I'm still the biggest decision was the Chevron decision, in my opinion, but
Yeah.
it's just absolutely incredible what's going on there lately.
The Chevron decision came out, but I could be mistaken, but I have not seen any impact yet. Have you?
Nope, I haven't seen any action that because nobody's holding their feet to the fire. So I
Yeah.
think that may take a little bit because again they'll have to petition the court and say, "Hey, look at this decision was already made." Da 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 da. So no, we have no momentum on it, but the decision is already made. So now it's just time for the good guys to take action.
Yeah. No question. All right. Edward, this is for you because I know you're in Arizona, in Oro Valley. There is a newspaper there. I think it's called, let me see if I have the name of the newspaper down. Uh, doo, 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 doo. Arizona Central, I think is what they're calling it.
From a lobbyist.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's
But that's the
wacky.
world we're living in. I mean, it's all about the dollar, right? The almighty dollar. And if the newspaper can collect the dollar, maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it was. It's like, well, I know there's news, but we're really not a news organization. We really sell ads, and the news is just to fill the space between the ads. I mean, that's how magazines look at it. I mean, I used to write for magazines, and
Yeah.
they would tell me straight up. They said, we just need your articles to fill in the white space between the ads because we don't make money on your article. We make money on the advertising.
So yeah, interesting enough. So there's proof of that. So there's an in Ventura. There's a. I'm not going to name the name. I don't need the lawsuit today, even though I would win it. I'll just say there's a prominent newspaper out in Ventura County that always does rewards. So they reward businesses as the best, right?
Right.
What they won't tell you is you don't get into the pool of a reward unless you already purchase advertising, and it's that pool is weighted by how much advertising you have purchased, and then all the so-called feel-good stories that happen to be at businesses are paid stories. So
I
again,
always
people pick up these newspapers and they think this is all real. No, no, no. It's completely contrived. You're absolutely living in the matrix when you're reading these papers. And I can tell you because I've seen their advertising dollars. Wow. They get paid a lot of money for these fake stories.
Yep. They're called advertorials, and by law, they're supposed to mark on there somewhere that it's an advertisement, but they don't. Often,
Yeah.
no one's holding their feet to a fire, so they don't do that as much.
Never
And you're
ever
reading,
seen
you
that
think
in
it's a
in
story, but it's paid for.
yep, never ever saw them market on there.
Yep. No, I used to write those way back when for different magazines and different companies. I used to write the advertorials, and they'd always say, "Well, it's got to say advertisement on it," but you'd buy the page, and you could do whatever you want with the page. So we mimic the typeset, we mimic the character, the font,
Wow.
spacing, everything to make it look like it was another story in the magazine. The only thing, it's an advertisement at the top. We hope many people didn't see that, and they just read it as another story in the magazine. Those, by the way, were the best ads. They had the most response, crazy response.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting.
Yep. Ah, tell us.
What in the world is that? Okay, guys, just really quick. If you want the healthiest animals on the planet, that are your pets, just go to sbgpets.com. At least go look at their products, and you're going to find they're very reasonable. Some of my go-tos for my puppies are the super sauce, which they love the super sauce, and I've seen a miraculous healing from that. And the I use the mush ponies because my dogs are big, so I have to feed them less. But they have mush puppies as well, amazing, and they eat the food too. That's all I can say about it. The testimonials are off the hook. The reorders are so consistent, which is really, to me, Robert, that tells me that this product works. Don't take my word for it. Just look at the fact that everybody seems to reorder it over and over and over. So they're seeing a difference in their animals too. sbgpets.com.
Yes, and my pet is bugging me just before the show. It's like, feed me, feed me, feed me. All right, I'll go get the super sauce. I'll get your food, mix it up, and now he's happy. So he's
And
taking a nap.
15
We're
years
here.
old, right?
Huh?
15 years
He's
old, right?
15 years old. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I'm scandalous. I actually feed the super sauce to them out of the container. I squeeze it and
Oh no.
they lick it right there. So I'm not measuring it properly, but it's fun when they see me grab the packet. They're like, "Woo, this is going to be
They
fun."
know
So,
it's treat time.
yep.
Here's a video of a chicken that is lit.
Oh my
Uh,
Lord.
Phoebe thought
That.
that was hilarious, like being in that world. I guess, yeah,
Mhm.
chicken humor. Why not?
Somebody's asking about on the SBG Pets the CBD gummies. They're not called CBD gummies. They're and I have them, but I forgot they're. But they're
CB doggies.
CB doggies, right? Right. So.
Mhm.
In fact, we use those on July 4th, and usually the dogs will break through our gate, come upstairs, right? They'll be scratching at the door, whining and crying and doing everything else. Now, my son said they did come to his room, but we didn't hear a peep out of them, which is pretty amazing. And but we gave them both the CBD doggies.
Wow.
Well, I
Good
say both,
testimonial.
actually all three.
All three. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not close enough to any fireworks out here. Yeah, we didn't have to worry about that. Anyway, the CBD, I think it's just for dogs. I don't think they have them for cats anyway. Our cat's pretty mellow.
Yeah, he's pretty cool though.
September 3rd, coming up real soon. I cannot believe that it's what, 40 days out before you get on the road?
Yes, don't remind me. I have so much work to do before we go, but this is going to be an epic events plural. So let's play the video. So, folks, just go to screwbigup.com to find that. And we will not release information on locations. Probably 48 to 72 hours ahead of time is when you'll get that, because we are trying to do some form of protection there. We do expect that they're going to be, for some reason, which is really cool if it happens, that there will be a convoy that is going to be picking up and following us all over the place. Trump flags, whatever you want to bring, that could just be an absolute blast. Robert, I know you're going to say something.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see it happen. And we're going to try to put some of them on live stream as well. So some ones who can't, they're not coming to your area because it's only 50 cities, right? There's a lot more than 50 cities in this country. You're not going to be everywhere. However,
You tell only to Bruce and Kevin who are traveling with me for a
well, I'm
month.
just saying, people are asking all the time. You come into my city, you come into my city. A lot of cities in this country. So if the tour comes to your city, you have to move hell and high water to get there. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be part of this, right? You need to show up, and that's probably the biggest challenge we have right now is the apathy, and people are just not showing up. And Lewis and I both had the same gut feeling. We're always on the same page. It's really fascinating. After what happened on Saturday, we said we just need to do more. And I have that feeling very strongly. I'm putting together a new show. I did a little show this afternoon, and tomorrow after this show, I'll be interviewing our buddy Bruce Poppy, and we're going to be talking about taking action. What can you do to get in the game? No more sitting on the sidelines. So if the tour comes to your city, you got to go. Got to be part of it.
Well, or
Got to.
even within your city, because I strategically designed this map myself personally, trying to get it within 3 hours of everybody. So there may be some anomalies, but this is virtually within 3 hours of every single city in the in the 48 contiguous states. So I if we can travel, God knows how many hours, I think, but it's over 11,000 miles. If we can do that, you certainly can travel up to 3 hours to join, support us, and meet and support everybody else there. I think that's a fair ask for sure. And yes, we're going all the way up to Maine, all the way to New Hampshire and Vermont, and we are going crazy, but it's going to be um, awesome. By the way, President Trump is now saying what? Unite. My wife pointed on it today. She goes, "Hey, look at you're ahead of the game again because we've been designing this Unity tour for months, and the logo is Unite, UNITE, down, and you're going to see that shortly also. So this is probably divine, so I would pay attention to it." Um, Robert, there's one story I wanted to tell. I don't know if it's on the docket today because I've been so busy, but how about Jack Smith and that Trump case?
Yeah, got dismissed today, the Jack Smith trial for the classified documents down in Florida, after the Supreme Court ruled that the president does indeed have immunity. Judge Cannon decided she's going to take a week and just review it and think about it. And today she ruled the case has been thrown out. President has immunity. You can't go after. And the other piece to this was interesting too, that Jack Smith was appointed unconstitutionally.
I think that's the story right there.
There is no office of special counsel. They just created that. They made it up out of
Right.
thin air.
That's right.
There's no authority to do that. So she goes, "You can't even have this guy doing this. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I think the subtext to this story is exactly that, and he was considered. It's considered a defective appointment,
Right.
right? And but again, who mentioned that several months ago? You and I said this is a defective appointment. There's no way that this guy could be. He wasn't even on the pool of 26 judges to
I
choose,
know.
right? Wasn't even in that pool. And then you go with the fake special counsel and the fact they reached outside of that. And there's even talk, was he an official judge at the time or was he just even an attorney? I mean, so we knew and we said back then. So I'm so happy though these things are coming around, and she didn't have a choice, right? They kind of backed her into a corner, but I'm surprised she also talked about the defective appointment. That is cool.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger piece. I agree with you there. And the other thing, the appeal came up that they're going after Judge Marchon there, who was suing Trump and was going to arrest him and put him in prison. So now there's an appeal that was accepted today. So Trump seems to be winning on many counts. The sort of the backlash, if you will. And I said this on Saturday, and it's like this is a turning point. This event that happened with Trump.
On record with the same prediction right here
Exactly. Yep.
on the news. They're going to try
So
everything.
they are, and we have to be ready for it. And when things happen, if you're prepared, you're going to be less scared. And there's no downside to being prepared, folks. So we tell you again and again: go get some bottled water, go get some canned foods, some dried foods, stuff that's not perishable, in case you can't get to a grocery store. Even if you could, there's got nothing to sell you. You got to be ready.
Yep. So I like what Blue Check Suck wrote here, and I agree with him. So even though I believe Vance could be an infiltrator of the deep state, he said this Vance choice is an opportunity for we the people to not blindly follow and hold even Trump to our standard. Do your research and let Trump know. 100%. We've been saying that. Ethan and I have been saying that forever. We got to hold Trump's feet to the fire. The closer we get to this election, whether it happens or not, when he gets put back in, we need to hold his feet to the fire. We will not accept mediocrity or deep state moves anymore. So thank you, Blue Check, for that. And then Cat2Q said Trump didn't appoint Vance, Electoral College and Senate picked VP. Never heard that before. I don't believe that's the protocol. So maybe you can send me something that says I don't think that's the way it works. Cool.
Ready
One more,
for a nice
one more thing.
coffee?
Sorry, Robert. One more thing. A lot
Okay.
of people are talking about how much they loved your show today. So why don't you tell them where people can find that? Because I haven't seen it yet, but people really seem to appreciate it.
It's on the Renegade Media channel on Rumble, and if you're following us on Renegade Media on Telegram, I also post a link to it there, if that might be easier for you. But you can find it on Rumble. And tomorrow night will be actually the first of what I call Renegades in Action. And like I said, Bruce Poppy will be our guest, and we'll be talking about actions you can take on a local level. Taking, I think it was Truth Tour 2, right? Was it Freedom in Action was Truth Tour 2?
Three really. It was a
3?
little bit different, yeah, because it was a boot camp that we were doing.
Yeah. So we're going to bring some of that information forward, and the hope is now that I will be interviewing at least one person a week, maybe two. Maybe I do it on Tuesday and Thursdays, days I'm not on this show, and bring forth that idea of what can you do, because that is the dominant question, especially now. People are going, okay, I've seen enough. I want in. What do I need to do? Or as Edward said, Coach, put me in. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's like we're ready.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to be watching closely these interviews because this is part of what we're building with Remember Your O. So I'll be putting it up on the site. If we see some things that work, we're going to try to give these tools to we the people. We will give the tools, not try to give them.
Yeah, absolutely. Ready for a restful evening, or you got something big planned? What do you got?
I'm hungry. That's all I know.
Oh, you're hungry. All right.
Always.
I'm going to get me some watermelon. We've got an amazing watermelon we got at the farmer's market, and I just can't get enough
Oh,
of it.
I'm jealous. Okay, so seed or seedless?
It's actually seedless, and I prefer seeds because it
Right.
tastes better. Yeah.
Yeah, and seeds are not because the original GMO was getting rid of the seeds in a watermelon. Not it wasn't really genetically modified, but it was modified, I believe,
It's
from what I
hybridized like they did with the corn. It
hybridized.
started with the
Thank you.
corn. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Awesome.
do you have that video of the comic real quick? I posted it back there. In fact, I could do it myself. Let me find
You
it.
could yeah, you're in the back end here
I put
too.
it, hey, whoa, 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 I'm not in the back end. Um, I put it right in front of the outro. Okay, I found it. So, guys, we're going to play another video, or it's actually audio of Billy Gardell, and he's talking about spirituality. So, I would just pay attention. I think you guys will really appreciate
Oh, I
this.
see it now. Okay, I can
Yep.
kick it off.
Robert, love you, appreciate you. Folks, tomorrow we have Warrior as a guest. I haven't made the promo yet. Trying to verify this is going to happen with Christine, and then that would be a phenomenal interview. So we'll give you more details here shortly. Ciao for now.
Cool. Thanks, Lewis. Appreciate you. Love you all. See you tomorrow.
Don't worry about